You're listening to the Dream Life Diaries podcast with host Ellison Noose, the space where you can discover and build your dream life one step at a time. If you are ready to embody the life of your dreams and start taking action and making changes, then subscribe and follow to go on a life-altering, effective journey towards success, fulfillment, and authentic life design. Everyone's dream life looks different, but in general, we all want our lives to look better, feel better, and most of the time be more peaceful. We want success, and we want to look like we're successful. We want to love what we do for income. We want to have beautiful, supportive, loving relationships. We want beautiful homes, occasional splurges, and fun, aesthetic vacations. Those are the elements that we want in the picture of our dream life. How those elements look is different for every single person, though. For one person, success looks like climbing the corporate ladder. For another, it looks like starting a thriving business. And for another, it means growing a loyal social media following. And this is true for every one of the elements of a dream life. When it comes to developing your dream life, we oftentimes aim for something that someone else already has. We love how somebody else's life looks, and we latch on to that, making that our goal for our own life. The thing is, our heart will never fully stand behind this goal because it's their life, not our own. When we try to cookie cutter, copy and paste somebody else's life into our own, we wind up never achieving the dream life we actually want. In most cases, if we aren't pursuing what we love and are passionate about, we don't succeed. There are those occasional stories of hard work and blood, sweat, and tears that resulted in success. But usually, if we aren't passionate about something, we won't stick to it. If we don't love something, we aren't consistent. If we don't have a purpose beyond money, aesthetics, or physical possessions, we are quick to give up. Well, that sounds discouraging. I'd like to make the argument that this is a good thing. For many of us, a lot of money isn't enough for us to keep going. We want to love what we're doing. We want to love the dream life we're building. If we don't love it, why work so hard to build it? So what is your dream? What do you want? What do you want life to look like? Sure, you can reference your favorite Instagrammers or those gorgeous Pinterest accounts. But you need to build your own dream. You need to figure out what you actually want. So, a little backstory. I went to school for accounting and finance. I oftentimes tell people that I went to school greedy and with a chip on my shoulder. I wanted to prove myself as an intelligent individual, and I wanted to make a lot of money doing it. Now, most people want to be seen as intelligent, and they want to be wealthy, obviously. But I went to school with this rage and with this kind of force. It wasn't until my sophomore year that I realized that I didn't want the bougie career in the financial industry. I didn't want the typical 8-to-5 job that career requires. I didn't even really like the classes and the topics I was studying. I realized that I had never developed my dream. I had never sat down and really asked myself what I wanted my life to look like. And not only that, but I had never been honest with myself when I did give myself a brief reflective moment. Now, I don't think my going to school was a mistake. I don't think my major was a mistake. My mistake was my end goal. I had built this vision for myself that I realized I loathed. I hated my post-graduation plans. I hated the day-to-day work I envisioned myself doing. I had built this dream life based on the TV shows that followed boss babe women who were in cutthroat careers and dominating the corporate space. I had developed my goals based on what society told me was the dream. Everyone has to start somewhere, and everyone has periods of time when they are lost and searching. I think that, honestly, we are all on the cusp of being lost more often than we care to admit. I was lost and angry for the rest of my college career. I was lost and angry after graduation. I've only really found myself in the last 6 months, if I'm honest. And if I'm even more honest, I'm still looking for myself. I'm so much closer to my dream, though, than I was 7 years ago. So, how do you actually begin to develop the dream life you are pursuing and that you actually want? First, you need to listen to that little voice inside of yourself. Yes, it is a little bit of a hippie comment, but it is so true. When I started tuning in to what I really wanted, I realized that I'd known all along. I had known precisely how I wanted my life to look in the midst of all of my bumbling and searching. I had known all along that I wanted to have complete flexibility and control over my schedule. I had known all along that I wanted to have a creative career. I had known all along that I wanted to be a community builder and that I wanted to help people find and develop their own dreams. I realized in this moment that every time I had asked myself, Ellison, what do you want? That I had a little voice and a clear picture of what I truly wanted. What I would reply to myself, though, was an answer that the people around me would applaud, or that was predictable, or that was dependable. I refused to look at the picture in my mind and listen to the little voice that was speaking to me. And what would happen is that I would start walking down a route that I didn't really enjoy, want, or feel any passion and purpose for. So firstly, what is that little voice telling you? What is that picture that appears in your mind? Second, you need to identify what the elements of that picture are. The big elements and the little elements. What kinds of things are you doing on a day-to-day basis? What kind of things are on your mind? What kind of people are in your life? A major realization that I had when I started really looking at my own picture was that, yes, I was a business owner and I was self-owned in this picture. But I realized that I was not necessarily a client-facing business owner. I went through several different business ventures trying to identify what it was that I wanted. And it wasn't until I realized that I didn't want a life filled with appointments that I knew what it was that I didn't want. Based on that discovery, I began looking elsewhere for my inspiration and my business ideas. When you identify what you don't want, oftentimes your picture becomes 10 times clearer and that little voice becomes 10 times louder. Third, you need to stop asking permission. For so long, I believed that I was this strong, confident, doesn't care what people think kind of person. A year ago, though, I realized that I was incredibly invested and concerned about what people thought of me. I realized that every decision I had made was based off of how I wanted people to see me or out of fear for how they did see me. I had never made a decision without consulting the party of they, those faces and voices in my life that I was a slave to trying to impress. This is a difficult step to take when it comes to building your dream life, because we learn from other people, want to be respectful of other people, And we want other people to be interested in us. We want people to smile, be impressed, or be intrigued when we tell them what we do for a living. When they're not, it is so incredibly easy to feel crushed. It is especially easy to feel crushed when they're not impressed or intrigued, and you have yet to succeed. I have been on a personal journey to overcoming this barrier, but one of the biggest things I've learned along the way is that I don't have to be obedient to someone else. The truth is, I am the only one who has to live my life. If I am pursuing a dream or a goal merely to please someone else, but I'm unhappy and dissatisfied, then what's the point? They're not living it. They're doing their own thing. I am the only one living it. So why am I pursuing this goal in an effort to make them happy, in an effort to obey them and respect them? So sure, you need to be seeking counsel and being mentored by someone who loves you and that you trust. But you don't have to be obedient. You don't have to be basing every single one of your decisions that you make in your life off of whether or not so-and-so and what's their face is happy with your choices. And that leads me to our fourth point, which is that you need to heal. When I realized that I had been hyper concerned over whether or not people were impressed and pleased with my decisions, I'll be honest, I was pissed. I was angry. I was angry with them, and I was angry with myself. In that anger, I rebelled, refusing to accept good, solid advice, refusing to accept support and concern that people had for me, refusing to stop, think, and really step in to who I am and who I was. In my anger, I became even more invested in what people thought of me. And after saying that, you might be thinking, Ellison, what on earth do you mean by that? Here's what I mean. While I had come to realize that I needed to stop obeying people, I had stepped into a mindset of wanting to prove people wrong. I began pursuing ventures and taking risks in the hope of becoming insanely wealthy and insanely successful, despite what people thought of these ventures, and then being able to rub all of their noses in it. I wanted to succeed against all odds and prove to people that they were wrong, that I was right, and that they had hurt me. While a lot of people have succeeded with this mindset of, I'm going to rise above, most of us encounter a major blockage and barrier. This is the blockage of resentment. This is the wall of unhealed wounds. This is the locked gate of anger, grudges, and unforgiven jabs that we've experienced in life. It took me a long time to realize that every decision I had made in my new pursuit towards my dream was made out of resentment. It took me a long time to realize that I had gotten absolutely nowhere because of my resentment. I was still focused on everyone else. I wasn't thinking about what I needed to do, what I wanted, what I was passionate about, and what my purpose was. I was only thinking about rubbing people's noses in something that I had accomplished, against their best judgment. So you need to take time to heal. You need to take time to sit down, name your wounds, name those perpetrators, and then let them go. I want to do an entire episode all about this precise concept, but for today, I want to leave you with simply the encouragement to let go of the hurt. I want to encourage you to free yourself from your pain, from your grudges, and from your resentment, and to allow yourself to embody the freedom you deserve. I want to encourage you to spend time forgiving, releasing, and really freeing yourself from the bondage that those things present in your life. Because unforgiven resentment and hurt and pain, all it ever does is just hold you back and keep you in a space of limited. That's all it is just limited. And so I want to encourage you to actually forgive. Spend time forgiving. The truth is that you don't have to be obedient. You don't have to be a slave to the memory of someone or to the hurt that's been inflicted. You don't have to be obedient to your anger. You don't have to bow down to your anger or to your pain or to the memory of somebody else. I know personally there are certain faces in my life, certain voices in my life, that whenever I think about them, there's just this instant rage, this instant pain. And every time that happens, I have to spend time saying, Ellison, you need to let them go. You need to release them, because it's so easy to be hyper-focused on them and to start making decisions and start pursuing different ventures or opportunities out of this desire to, like I said, rub their nose in how they hurt you and to prove them wrong. And the truth is that they aren't watching you at all. Sure, when you speak to them or tell them about what you're doing, they're always going to offer those small jabs and the unwanted advice that they have for your life. They're always going to have that. But they're not thinking about you when they're sitting on the couch every night. They're not thinking about you day in and day out. They're not thinking about you at all. You are hyper-focused on them and how they hurt you, but they're not thinking about you. And so while that in and of itself is painful, seeing as how badly they've hurt you and the pain that they've given you and the pain that you are carrying around, you need to let that go. You need to forgive that. You need to release that. Because once again, it is only holding you hostage, and it is preventing you from, number one, realizing your dream life, and number two, embodying and pursuing your dream life. So, what is your dream life? What do you want? What does it actually look like? What does it actually feel like? You can take inspiration from the people you see around you or on the internet, but don't just copy and paste. That's boring, right? That's incredibly boring. Simply be inspired. Allow yourself the space to name your dream. Allow yourself the space to paint that picture of your dream life. Give yourself the permission to want the dream that you want and to pursue that dream with passion, purpose, and confidence. Give yourself permission to be yourself, to be your most passionate and authentic self, and to share that with the world. You are the only permission you need in order to step forward in your life and to pursue this next step in your life. You are the only permission you need. And so give it to yourself. Free yourself from searching for permission from people that are never going to give it to you. And start seeking permission with yourself. Start seeking permission from who you are, who you know you are, and who you know you can be. Start seeking permission from you. Thank you so much for joining me today for episode 1 of the Dream Life Diaries podcast. Stay tuned for the next episode where I'll be going deeper into this concept of navigating the opinions of others while you are developing and pursuing your dream life. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.